and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jodie, and in this video I'm going to be doing my first ever top 10 video. So yeah, I've been kind of meaning to start these kind of videos for a while and doing some like top 10 movies by certain actors, directors, and kind of top 10 movies in certain genres and all that kind of thing. So I basically just said I would start out by doing a top 10 of an actor that I just absolutely love, and an actor that I have pretty much kind of followed and just admired their work since, probably since I was a young teenager, to be honest. I've watched this actor's movies, and I have quite a big collection of their films in my DVD collection. So I just said it was a perfect place to start out. And so that actor, as you can see from the thumbnail, is Val Kilmer. So yeah, as I said, I've just always been such a big fan of Val Kilmer's work. I just find him to be such a versatile actor, and an actor that I just feel like in this day and age does not get enough credit and is not kind of talked about enough. But I just think he's absolutely fantastic, and there's so many films from him that I think are really underrated, and ones that I kind of just want to talk about and spread the word of a little bit, because there's just some absolutely cracking movies in here. So yeah, I'm going to do basically 10 films, my top 10 films from Val Kilmer, and I obviously have all these in my collection, so I'll show you the physical media copy as I go along, and then just at the end I just could not help but include some honourable mentions as well, because yeah, there's just too much goodness to kind of get into one top 10, but the top 10 is like my solid top 10, and then I have a few honourable mentions at the end. So yeah, I'll try to be kind of brief enough when I'm talking about these titles, but because I could honestly talk about these movies all day long, but I'll try and be brief because I don't want this video to be as long as my last video. But yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to show you the titles. So these are in no particular order either. I just whilst these are definitely my top 10, I just could not torture myself by putting them into a specific order. So these are just the order that I'm pulling them out of the pile. So I could not neglect to include this just incredible film, and this incredible Western film, Tombstone. So like, weirdly enough, this is probably one of the last of kind of Val Kilmer's films that I had actually seen. I've had this in my collection for a really long time, and I just, there was quite a long period where I wasn't really sure if I was kind of interested in Western films, and then I kind of started getting more into them, but it took me a while to actually watch this one, and oh my goodness, it was just really worth the wait. It was just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, as I said, this is a Western film, and it is it's the main character in it is really played by Kurt Russell, but he plays the character Wyatt Earp, and he's basically kind of retiring from law enforcement and settles down in this town of Tombstone. And he kind of thinks he's just kind of going to settle down and find his fortune and just kind of live out his days. But then some kind of these outlaws kind of start terrorizing the town, and he basically has to kind of team up with some friends, and then he teams up with a character played by Val Kilmer called Doc Holliday, to kind of fight these outlaws and these kind of brigands. And yeah, it is just an absolutely outstanding Western film. Val Kilmer's character in this is just such an iconic character of Doc Holliday, and yeah, he's just a brilliant character. He just plays that character and just captures the spirit of the character so well. So yeah, it is just absolutely incredible. I've only seen it the one time, but I just absolutely loved it. So it definitely had to be included on the list. So I'm sure most people that are into their westerns probably would have seen this one. It's definitely kind of regarded as like a modern classic Western film. But yeah, if you love your westerns and you have not seen Tombstone, highly recommend it, for the just absolutely fantastic film and story, but also for Val Kilmer's amazing performance. So yeah, first one, Tombstone. So next is a little bit of a controversial one. So the reason being because this film had a very kind of disastrous production. So the movie has kind of gone down in infamy ever since it came out, and it was pretty much like a box office bomb, and it's kind of widely regarded as like a pretty bad film. But if anyone knows kind of how much I love The Exorcist 2, it won't be a surprise to you that sometimes I do kind of enjoy a really bad movie. And the movie in question is this one, The Island of Dr. Moreau. So this one, yeah, it's I'm not gonna kind of pretend that this is like an incredible film. It's really not, but I have to say, for me, the kind of entertainment value of this film is just second to none. It's highly kind of rewatchable and entertaining. And I think a lot of it is just down to just how absolutely bananas this film is, and just how bonkers it is. Like the character of Dr. Moreau is played by Marlon Brando, and oh my god, the character that he plays is just absurd, like, is the only word. So like from the minute that Marlon Brando enters this film, you just know you're in for like a crazy ride. His character is just so off the wall. And so basically, Marlon Brando, he plays this sort of like mad scientist kind of character, like this very kind of crazy geneticist. And kind of what he's doing is basically he's kind of taking these kind of animals that are local to the island, and he's kind of changing their genetics to turn them into like kind of half man, half kind of creature type beings. Like, it's very strange. So kind of as soon as we kind of see this island, we start seeing all of these very strange kind of creatures, these kind of mutant type beasts. And I have to say, the special effects that they use in this film, the special effects, you can see the special creatures are created by Stan Winston, and they're really impressive. Like, they're very very kind of creatively done. Like, there's lots of different very kind of creative creatures, and they're all kind of stemming from lots of different types of animals. And essentially all these creatures, because they've been created by Marlon Brando, the Marlon Brando character, Dr. Moreau, they do look to him as like the god kind of character, the god figure, and they all refer to him as father. And kind of what we learn is that they are all kind of implanted with these devices that make them very easy to kind of, like, I guess whip into submission, and make them very just make them very subservient to Dr. Moreau, and he can kind of control them at his will. So kind of a lot of kind of what happens in the movie we see is the kind of characters kind of taking this into their own hands, and the creatures sort of taking matters into their own hands, and I guess starting to kind of rebel against their father and their creator. So a very fascinating story. It is, as I said, it's from a story by H.G. Wells, so it is like a very kind of classic kind of story. And it's a really fascinating tale. The Val Kilmer comes into it because he's kind of like an assistant to Dr. Moreau, and he kind of does all Dr. Moreau's kind of dirty work in the film. And yeah, he is great in it, and he kind of plays this kind of very kind of cocky character. So yeah, he's fantastic. And then David Thewlis is in this as well, and he kind of plays this man who is basically stranded, and he's rescued by the Val Kilmer character, and he kind of goes in, and we're kind of witnessing everything that's happening on this island through his eyes. And he's kind of shocked by everything that's going on, and we're kind of following along the journey with him. So probably what I think is probably the most fascinating aspect of the film is probably the special effects, and just the actual, those kind of creatures themselves, like the kind of weird half man, half kind of half animal kind of hybrids, like kind of mutant creatures. They're all just so like creatively designed, and just some of them are just so kind of disgusting and really unsightly, but just so creative. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But yeah, the special effects and everything are just absolutely fantastic. So if you are like a horror lover, and you kind of like I don't know necessarily if I would call it like body horror kind of necessarily, but if you kind of love maybe like your kind of creature features and all that kind of thing, and your science fiction films, that kind of thing, and I really think you might enjoy this one. Again, it's not Citizen Kane or anything by any standard, but it is a very, very entertaining watch. And you know, there's so much kind of action in it, and yeah, it's kind of just really funny in parts as well, because it is so off the wall ridiculous. But yeah, just a highly entertaining one, and just a very, very rewatchable film. So I actually started rewatching this one last night, and I finished it today because I just wanted to kind of have it fresh in my head for the video. And yeah, it's just one that I will just kind of always go back to, just for pure kind of entertainment value. So yeah, if you have not heard of this movie, you know, it's an interesting one as well, for the kind of background on the production and everything like that. If you kind of read into that, there's a lot of kind of diva behavior kind of going on the set by Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer, from what I can gather. And it just makes it kind of more fascinating, because yeah, there's this kind of a story behind it as well. So yeah, as I said, The Island of Dr. Moreau, check it out if it sounds like there's something that you might be into. But yeah, it's definitely one that I'll be rewatching well into the future. So then next, I can't talk about Val Kilmer movies without talking about this one. This one is a classic, and it's kind of a little bit of an earlier role from him. So this one is from 1988, and it is Willow. And yeah, this is a kind of fantasy adventure film, and this one is directed by Ron Howard, and it's based off a story by George Lucas. So he actually wrote the story to this film. So this movie basically centers on this young man played by Warwick Davis called Willow, and he finds this baby, and he kind of finds out that the baby is it kind of foretells of this prophecy that when this baby is born, this is going to be the next princess, and it's going to end the reign of the current queen. So this queen is just so evil, and so he basically has to go on basically this adventure to keep the baby safe and to kind of defeat this queen. And there's a lot of obstacles that are kind of put out to stop him on his adventure. But yeah, it is a really, really fun little movie. And Val Kilmer in this, he plays the character of Mad Martigan, and he's kind of like this this very kind of belligerent, like kind of swordsman character. And he basically just helps Willow along on the journey. And yeah, he's just such a fantastic character in this as well. And this is the one where he actually meets his future wife in this one as well. So Joanne Whalley is in this movie as well. So I think that's where they met, and then they subsequently got married after this movie. So yeah, I just had to include Willow. It's not like, fantasy is not usually a genre that I'm kind of crazy into, but this is kind of one that I remember having on video when I was really young, and kind of rewatching over and over again over the years. And it's just a really fun movie, a great adventure movie. And yeah, it's a really feel good movie as well. And the characters and everything in it are fantastic. And of course it has a fantastic score by James Horner as well, who is my favorite composer. So extra points for having an incredible score as well. So yeah, Willow, absolutely love Willow. So another one that is just a kind of solid kind of rewatchable movie for me. So next is a film that I just absolutely adore, and this is a very, very underrated film starring Val Kilmer. And yeah, it's one that I just never hear anybody talking about, but it is just absolutely incredible. And it's this one called The Salton Sea. So this one, I would say, if I did have to kind of rank these like fully from like 1 to 10, like I would say this one would be really, really high up there. Yeah, I just absolutely love this film. So this one, it is centers around the Val Kilmer character, and he kind of, after a very kind of tragic event where he loses his wife, he finds himself kind of caught up in kind of the drug world in California, in kind of like the desert area in California near the Salton Sea. And so the scenery and everything and the location in this is just absolutely stunning. And he basically finds himself kind of being an informant, and kind of reporting all these very dodgy kind of characters to the police. And he kind of infiltrates these sort of these kind of gangs of what they call like tweakers, basically these kind of drug addicts, and basically people who are literally strung out all the time. And he kind of infiltrates these kind of groups, and then kind of finds out who are the head guys, like the dealers and everything like that, and turns them into the cops. So he finds like a pretty reliable kind of I guess like a meaning to his life kind of doing this, because and it all kind of comes back to kind of how he lost his wife. So there is some twists and turns in this movie, so I won't like spoil it or anything, but this film is just, I just absolutely love it so much. So yeah, the performance by Val Kilmer in this is just absolutely fantastic, and he kind of plays two characters in it. Like he plays the I guess the older version of himself before his wife died, and he also plays the kind of, you know, the guy, I guess, who is trying to fit in with all these kind of drug gangs, and you know, these kind of guys who are just, you know, kind of doing drugs all the time and getting high and partying like all the time, and he kind of has to kind of play a certain role to fit in with those kind of people. And the characters that you meet in this film that are these kind of tweaker characters, like, are so entertaining. Like, I know it's like an absolutely terrible thing, but the characters themselves are just so eccentric, and they're just such oddballs, but they're so entertaining to watch. There's a character in this played by Peter Sarsgaard, and his character is just fantastic and so funny. And then there's this other character in this, he's called Pooh Bear, and he's played by Vincent D'Onofrio, and like, it is one of the most like unhinged, just incredible performances. Like, Vincent D'Onofrio is another one of these just fantastic character actors who's so underrated and just plays such a raft of different characters, and he is just absolutely like terrifying and brilliant in this film. So if you like Vincent D'Onofrio as well as Val Kilmer and some of the other cast members, I definitely check this one out. This is just a really fantastic, really gritty, raw film, and kind of a little bit in a noir style, but very stylish film. And kind of cultivating that style, they don't sacrifice story or plot at all. Like, the plot is just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, this one is definitely high up there in my favorite Val Kilmer movies. I gave it a rewatch yesterday as well, just to kind of refresh my memory, because maybe it's probably been about a year since I've seen it, but yeah, I just absolutely am in love with this film. So yeah, if you haven't heard of it or seen it before, another one, definitely recommend checking this one out, The Salton Sea. You definitely won't regret it. It's absolutely fantastic. So next then is a very different kind of film, and this one is it's a very kind of epic, like, adventure film, and this one is called The Ghost and the Darkness. Now, when I think I initially like saw this movie, I actually didn't know what it was going to be. Like, I thought it was kind of going to be more like of a modern tale, but this is like, it is a period piece. So it says it's set in 1896 in Africa. So the premise of this one is that Val Kilmer is he's an engineer and he builds bridges. So he goes to Africa on this sort of like this mission to basically build a bridge in this kind of local area. And this is kind of a job that takes a really long time. So I think he goes over there, I think maybe for a couple of years or a year or something like that. And kind of, as you know, as they're kind of starting work on building the bridge, these lions and everything keep coming in and basically attacking the locals and attacking all the workers and everything like that. And so he basically doesn't know what to do. So he kind of finds that he's like actually a really good shot. So he kind of, you know, puts himself at the forefront of trying to kind of tackle the problem of these lions. And then this other character, then played by Michael Douglas, like, what is he? He's pretty much like just like a hunter, and he comes in and again they kind of join forces to basically stop these lions. And it kind of sounds like sounds a little bit sad that, you know, they're shooting these lions and that they're hunting them and everything, but like, these lions in this film are so vicious. Like, they are frightening, and like, they're absolutely terrorizing this like little town, and, you know, really like kind of posing such a huge threat to the people there. So they kind of do need to do something about it. So yeah, it's just a really fantastic action film, and kind of period action adventure film. And Yeah, the performances in it, again, just absolutely fantastic, and some really kind of thrilling scenes and everything like that. And there's like a really fantastic score that kind of runs through the film as well. And I think it's Goldsmith. Yeah, it's Jerry Goldsmith's score as well, which is just absolutely incredible. So yeah, just another one that I just cannot recommend more. If you're into your kind of thrilling kind of action adventure films, maybe, you know, kind of period ones as well, yeah, I would definitely recommend checking this one out, The Ghost and the Darkness. Then next is one I just simply could not leave out of this list. It's, you know, I just be denying my true feelings if I was to leave it out, and it is just the absolutely fantastic Batman Forever. I know this one is just really not everyone's cup of tea, and I feel like people are very passionate about kind of which Batmans they like the best and which ones are bad and which ones are good, but I just think this is the best one. Like, this to me is the best Batman. I said it. So I just absolutely love this one. I think to me, just the reason I love this so much is I love the kind of comic book kind of feeling of this one, and I just think the casting in this is like perfection. Like, if you are a child of the 90s as I am, I just think this casting is just absolute perfection. So to have the incredible Val Kilmer as Batman, and then to have Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones as well as like the villains, it's just like the perfect cocktail for me, and I just absolutely love it. So yeah, I just adore this film. So there's not much to say about this one, because I know probably most people probably watching this video have seen this film. I do not endorse the next one after this, the Batman and Robin, because I really did not like that one. I thought it was terrible, but this one I just absolutely love, and it's one that I'll come back to again and again. So yeah, I couldn't really talk about Val Kilmer movies without talking about his stint as Batman. It's a pity that he didn't do a second one, but I believe he basically didn't want to kind of get like kind of typecasted as Batman, and you know, he wanted to do it once and then move on to something else. So you know, I kind of don't begrudge him that, because a lot of actors that do play superheroes kind of end up kind of getting typecast, and you know, they end up kind of doing it for so long that people kind of go, oh, he's the guy that played Batman. Whereas I feel like with Val Kilmer, like when people say, oh, Val Kilmer played Batman, they're like, did he? And like, people kind of forget that he played Batman. So he definitely kind of maintained his own, you know, kind of identity as an actor, and didn't kind of get pigeonholed into, you know, these kind of superhero roles. But yeah, Batman Forever, absolutely love this one. Please let me know your thoughts on this one, because I know it's not one for everyone, but I'm a lover. So yeah, Batman Forever is the next one. So next is another one that I just find so underrated. This is another fantastic film. So this one directed by Michael Apted. This one is Thunderheart. Yeah, another one that I just absolutely love. So anyone out there again in the community who's into their westerns and kind of crime westerns, I would say would really enjoy this one. This is really terrific. So this one is it's about the Val Kilmer character, and he's an FBI agent, but he does have like kind of mixed blood. So he does have some native kind of roots, and kind of a native I guess ancestry, and he basically finds himself having to go to this Sioux Indian reservation where a murder has taken place. So when he goes to this reservation, then he kind of finds himself having to work with like the local sheriff, who's played by Graham Greene, and he's brilliant in this one as well. And then there's another FBI agent in this one as well, played by Sam Shepard, who is again just fantastic. I absolutely love Sam Shepard. So yeah, this one, it's really fantastic. There's these sort of crime elements, and obviously like the investigation and everything that goes on, but I think like the real kind of crux of the story is sort of him, the Val Kilmer character, I guess coming to terms with like his own kind of roots, and also kind of learning a little bit about the kind of life on the reservation and the Native American culture and all that kind of thing, and kind of learning to kind of sympathize with them, and to I guess just to kind of understand them. And yeah, it's a really fascinating journey, and it's a really beautifully told story. the setting and everything of this is just absolutely stunning. Such a beautiful, like a visually beautiful film as well. And it has a score by James Horner, so another James Horner score, which again just gives it extra points in my book. So yeah, Thunderheart, just a really fantastic one, and another one that I just feel like no one talks about this film, but it's really fantastic. And yeah, I just cannot recommend this one enough. So it has been a little while as well actually since I've watched this one, so I think this one is just going to be a nice rewatch for me now, I think, in the next couple of days, because yeah, as I said, it's been a while since I've seen it and I do adore it. So yeah, Thunderheart, if you have not seen this one, again, a really high recommendation from me, and a fantastic kind of entry in Val Kilmer's filmography. Then next, which probably could be my favorite Val Kilmer movie and favorite performance. This is one that I talked about in a recent kind of weekly watches video, because I did rewatch this one quite recently as well. And I've seen this movie like so many times over and over again over the years, and I absolutely love it. And that one is The Saint. So yeah, I did talk about it in that video, so I won't go too much into it, but yeah, this is an absolutely fantastic kind of spy espionage kind of thriller, and it's about the character played by Val Kilmer in this, who goes by the name Simon Templar. And yeah, he is essentially, he just kind of works you know, he kind of works on his own terms as like a thief, and so he finds himself working for the Russians, basically to steal the formula for cold fusion. And basically in doing this, he has to kind of come into contact with this professor that works at Oxford, and she's played by Elizabeth Shue. And he kind of finds himself getting involved with her in order to steal this formula. And then kind of all this sort of other action, and yeah, just a lot of fun kind of ensues from there. So the reason I just love this movie so much, I think, is really for Val Kilmer's performance. So in his kind of job as a thief, he does have to take on a lot of different like aliases and different identities, and they all, the kind of thing they have in common is they all take the name of saints. And just seeing Val Kilmer kind of take on all these different characters and just have a lot of fun with it, I feel like he's having a lot of fun when he's playing these roles. It's just great fun to watch, and it's highly entertaining. So yeah, this is just like, it's such a rewatchable film for me. I don't know how many times I've seen this film over the years, but it's a lot. And it just keeps me entertained literally every single time. So just this list would be nothing without The Saint. So yeah, one I absolutely love, and will be one that I will just keep rewatching over and over again because I love it so much. So yeah, The Saint is the next one. So for the next one, I was kind of humming and hawing whether to put this in the main list, because I guess because this one is it's the only one here that is animated, so it's just voice work. But I just cannot deny how much I absolutely love this film, and it's probably up there with like my favorite animations of all time. So I just would be remiss not to include it. So the film in question is The Prince of Egypt. So Val Kilmer, of course, voices the character of Moses in this film, and he also voices the character of God, which I'm not sure if a lot of people know that he does the both characters. But yeah, this is just a fantastic kind of DreamWorks production of the story of Exodus, the story of Moses, and it's a very well known story, but I just think this film just tells it so beautifully. And I just think the animation in this is absolutely stunning, and the music is just absolutely fantastic. So the music in this is just really gorgeous, a really beautiful score, and then some fantastic songs as well. So yeah, I kind of feel like you don't even really necessarily need to be into, you know, the Bible or religion or anything to kind of enjoy this. I just think it's such a fantastic story, and it's told really beautifully in this film. So yeah, it's another one that I just think, for me, that I'll kind of keep coming back to over and over again. There's not a lot of animations that I kind of do revisit a lot, but this one is definitely up there. And yeah, again, just Val Kilmer's voice work in this is just absolutely excellent, and just sort of fits the character so perfectly. So yeah, I just felt I just had to include it. I had to include it in this video because it's just such a fantastic movie. So yeah, The Prince of Egypt is the next one. And so yeah, the final movie then in my top 10 is just an absolutely iconic movie and iconic performance from Val Kilmer. And that one is Oliver Stone's The Doors. Yeah, just another absolutely fantastic film. I know this is kind of one that like people either really love this film or they just don't like it for whatever reason, but yeah, I am definitely a lover of this film. I just think as a music biopic and just as a music film in general, I just think it is absolutely stunning. Like I feel like the director set out to capture, you know, a feeling and a spirit and a time, you know, like a moment in time, and I think he just captured it so beautifully in this film. Like this, like the film, like it really is like, I mean, it's sort of like a time capsule, even if you're not a fan of the Doors, but you want to kind of experience maybe kind of what the 60s in California was like. I just think this is like the perfect film to watch. Very psychedelic. The beautiful desert scenery and the music and just yeah, just everything about this is just it really kind of sums up that time, I think, or at least what I like to think that time was like. And for that reason I just think it's absolutely just a beautiful film. But I think kind of more kind of the most incredible part of this film is the performance that Val Kilmer gives in this movie as Jim Morrison. So I just think, again, I just don't think anyone could kind of capture Jim Morrison as well as Val Kilmer did in this movie. I know, I think at the time when they were casting this film, I think there was like a lot of yeah, they were just not, they were kind of against casting him in this film, and people just thought, oh, it won't work, and maybe just thought he was a different kind of actor. But what he produces in this film and just how he conveys this character is just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, if you're a fan of the Doors especially, but if you just like films that kind of show the 60s, that show yeah, that kind of that era in music, that era in history, I think this is a really fantastic one. But one tip is definitely do not watch this with your dad. So I made the mistake of putting this on when my dad came over, because my dad is a huge music fan, and of course he grew up in the 60s, 60s and 70s. So yeah, I just said I would just throw it on because I was like, my dad will really enjoy this, and it's a great music film. And then just totally forgetting like how much sex is in this film. Like I think there's like one half an hour kind of like time period where there is just nothing but sex, and like very aggressive sex. So like I just like sunk further and further into the sofa and just like wishing for death, because I was so embarrassed. So yeah, do yourself a favor and do not watch this with like a parent or anyone that you would be embarrassed to see a lot of sex scenes with. But you're probably going to be a lot smarter than me and not put this on like in front of someone you don't want to see. But yeah, however, it is an absolutely fantastic film. And yeah, just another one that that I just love having in my collection, and that I know that I just sort of revisit kind of periodically over the years, because yeah, because it's just absolutely brilliant. So yeah, if you have not seen The Doors, and if you love your music biopics, and you know, if you love The Doors especially and you haven't seen it, you just have to get this and kind of watch it as soon as you can, because it's brilliant. So yeah, that is my official Val Kilmer top 10. So these are all the titles that yeah, that I included in my top 10. So I just want to really briefly kind of run through a couple of honorable mentions, just because there's more films that I love starring Val Kilmer, and I just kind of want to give them a very brief acknowledgement. So for all the lovers of kind of romantic films, this is a really great one, At First Sight. Then one that almost made my top 10 as well, this is just a fantastic kind of buddy cop film, and just the chemistry between Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer is incredible in this one, and it's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Then one that I kind of feel like a lot of people will be expecting to see in this top 10, but I just didn't include it because I just didn't think he was kind of in it enough for me to call it like a Val Kilmer movie. But this is, like, without a doubt, this is a spectacular film, and it is of course The Amazing Heat. Then I have a really early role from Val Kilmer, and yeah, a really fantastic kind of 80s science fiction film, and it's this one, Real Genius. Then we have a really very kind of deep cut one, one that I never really hear anyone talking about, and this one is kind of like a very kind of dramatic family film, and this one is called Joe the King. Then we have another one that when I watched it, I didn't expect to enjoy it as much, but it's a really fun like kind of crime action film, and this one is Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. And then finally, I know another one that people are probably like wondering why they're not in my top 10. Basically this film, I do really enjoy this film, but it's kind of not one that I like would rewatch a lot, or it's not one of my all-time favorites. So I just said I would include it in honorable mentions. So that one is Top Gun. But I would like to just give like a special kind of mention to Top Gun Maverick, where Val Kilmer kind of makes a reappearance as Iceman, and unfortunately I'm not sure how aware people are about kind of what happened to Val Kilmer and stuff, but he did unfortunately have a very kind of tough battle with throat cancer, and I think maybe cancer of the mouth. So he unfortunately just doesn't have really much of an ability to kind of speak as well as he used to, which is really sad, because I just think one of the great parts about him as an actor was his voice. He just had such a fantastic voice, so it was really beautiful to see him come back in this one as Iceman, and kind of how they dealt with the fact that he can't really speak anymore. I just think was really beautifully done. So for that reason I just had to, I had to kind of mention this one. But yeah, they are all my honorable mentions and all my Val Kilmer top 10. So yeah, just an absolutely incredible actor, a really underrated one, and I think just so many of these movies I just would recommend so much if they're ones that you haven't seen before. So if there's any ones that you're interested in, or if there's any ones you have seen, definitely please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of these titles, or if there's any of them that you do want to check out as well, definitely please let me know. So yeah, if you are still watching this video, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate the support, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.